as we get ready for our GT Challenge. Our GT Challenge here, 20 laps around the South Circuit at the Autobahn Country Club before we have our third and final heat races for Spec Miata and SM2, which will be coming up in just a second. As we just get done with our SM2 heat race number 2, we have our GT Series Challenge event here, race 6 on the season for the GT Series. Our sponsors today, Highland Management Associates, Eurosport, and CXI Trucking. Matt Lauterbach in the booth here once again with Jordan Missick following an incredible second heat race in our SM2 battle. Now we get a chance for some normal racing again here in order to catch our breaths. It's our GT Challenge event here. We got a lot of drivers coming up in our GT Class Challenge. As we're going to get through our starting field here in just a second, we have 5 classes competing today from GT1 to GT5. Our GT1 pole sitter is Tadas Karlinskis in the 313. Starting alongside is the number 999 of Brandon Collins right now. That's the big fight of the day. In GT2, it's Tom Herb on the pole in the 46. Alongside is Britt Casey Sr. in the number 36. And the other GT2 car in the field will be the number 40 of Dick Ruck. Row 3 for GT3, our pole sitter, will be Ron Roshinsky in the number 7. Starting alongside is Valdez Garilius and the number 24 car. In GT4, our pole winner is Charlie Margosian. He will be driving the number 229 today. And other GT4 cars will be Scott Benning Sr. in the 59. Sean Van Chivius in the number 023, Julie Ridgen in the number 90, and Jeff Schur in the number 071. And our GT5 pole sitter will be Mike Keck driving the number 691. Starting the other GT5 car will be Bob Norian in the number 89. So Jordan, we got a full field coming up in our GT Class Challenge here today following our SM heat battles here. 20 laps around the South Circuit. Should be exciting.
Absolutely. We got about 14 cars as well. They're going to be taking the grid here and taking the green flag this time by as well. People are coming to complete the first of 2 pace laps, I should say, as they now feel as make their way over to turn number 4. We also like to thank most of our sponsors here on the GT side as well, as we have a bunch of sponsors that are on board with the GT Racing Series here at the Autobahn Country Club. We also like to thank the Highland Management Associates, who have been part of the incorporated, have been part of it, Eurosport, and CSI Trucking, who have been many of our main sponsors here at the Autobahn Country Club. We also like to thank most of our broadcast sponsors of Signature Signs as well, Signature Production Group, here with helping us with all of our production standards here at the Autobahn Country Club, all these beautiful pictures and all of the beautiful coverage that you've been seeing here at the Autobahn Country Club. We cannot thank them enough for all their support and help.
Has made a lot of this racing here possible here today, and a lot of the live broadcast of this amazing, exciting, and thrilling racing here at the Autobahn Country Club. It's been made possible for all of you to see on our live broadcast. So we got another lap and a half for our pace car to be out there before we get going on our GT lap event. It's Brandon Collins in the 999. Surprisingly did not win the pole today. It was Tadas Karlinskis in the 313 who was able to take it from him. Brandon pretty much has the GT Challenge nearly locked up so far for the championship, but Tadas putting up a little bit of a fight today, Jordan. What do you expect in terms of the track conditions?
Well, Tadas has been really good with his GT3 car as well. He's also only got the pole by 2/10 over Brandon Collins there at the very last minute, so really good effort and a really good qualifying effort by Tadas Karlinskis here. I would expect these two to go tooth and nail and basically have an all-out brawl between each other. You know, these two guys are really close in terms of speed, really close in terms of horsepower, so I wouldn't expect them both to get away from one another, and I would expect it to fight all the way to the end between these two.
Well, it'll definitely be a very thrilling battle here going into the first turn. As the field will come around, they will get the green flag this next time by here to start our GT Challenge race event at the Autobahn Country Club. It'll be 20 laps around the South Circuit here. We've had a lot of carnage and excitement so far in our Spec Miata racing. We'll see what happens with our GT Challenge event, but it's going to be a bit of a shift here going from our Triple Crown racing event to sort of normal racing here in terms of who will win in the overall classes from GT1 to GT5 in just a second.
This is kind of like your prelude event coming up to the main event. That's going to be the Spec Miata series when we get to the green flag here at the end of this race. As we have on board, thank you, Tom Herb, for being our onboard camera user for this race, as well as we are taking him on the pace lap around the South Circuit. Really good onboard shots that we could see of both the Tadeusz Karlinskis and Brandon Collins in front of them. Hopefully we'll be able to see them a lot longer than this, but they might be able to take themselves right off into the distance. So thank you, Tom Herb, for having the Sentinel onboard camera with us for this GT Challenge race.
Tom Herb, the first driver in the GT series at Audubon to feature an onboard camera, as Sentinel, our sponsor for the onboard camera system here today, as we take a look at the drivers towards the back of the field here so far. Again, now this isn't just overall finish. It's based on overall class. It's Tadeusz right now on the pole, but Brandon Collins in that silver and orange number 999 trying to look for a way around him. That's going to be the battle for the GT1 championship so far. And then you got Tom Herb right behind them in that 46, going to try and hold off Britt Casey Sr. in the 36. That is for the GT2 overall class fight, and not far behind them is the white number 40 of Dick Ruck. As you see Dick going down there with the black numbering of the 40 on that white car there. And we have a few GT3 cars, a few GT4 cars, and a few GT5 cars as well. As the field now getting themselves double file here as they'll make their way towards this braking zone, and they'll come around to complete the opening lap, or start the opening of this race as we go on board Tom Herb in row 2, starting from the 3rd overall spot. And again, it'll be a dogfight going into turns 1 and 2 between Collins and Karlinskis right now. We'll see what happens with that as we go double file here. It's going to be 14 cars in total in this race here today. Pace car is off, and the green flag for the GT Series race is about to get underway. Green flag waving. We're underway in our GT Series Challenge Race 6. And Karlinskis and Collins going side by side already. And advantage Tadeusz Karlinskis. He'll take the lead right now. Collins pulls the inside, but Karlinskis cuts him off for the race lead right now as the field going double wide behind them, as it looks like Dick Ruck and Britt Casey Sr. going at it. Casey Sr. with a bit of a rough start, falling behind the number 7 of Ron Roshinsky overall as he slots in behind Ruck in the 40. That is for the fight in the GT2 class.
A little bit of sideways action there with Ron Roshinsky there, and going into turn number 4, he was able to collect it right in front of Scott Benning Sr. As we move our way through turn number 6, a little bit side-by-side action further back. That's a couple BMWs there going side-by-side. I believe that is the 24 of Valdez going on the inside there. He's able to collect the car back up. As up front, it's been Tadeusz Karlinskis and Brandon Collins there nose to tail as they go down to the back straightaway over towards turn number 10, and now in the back straightaway to turn 11.
Here we head towards the back straightaway. Julie Ridgens in the number 90 trying to find her way around the field here, as it looks like we have Tom Herb clearing ahead over Ron Roshinsky in the GT3. Dick Ruck setting sail over Britt Casey Sr. in the 36, as Karlinskis and Collins going head-to-head for the race lead. Now Casey Sr. going to the inside of Ruck. That is for 2nd overall in the GT2 class. And Casey Sr. going to try and move his way back up towards the GT2 race leader of Tom Herb, as we have one lap completed in this event here at the Audubon Country Club.
Ron Roshinsky was able to get himself up to the 4th spot. Britt Casey Sr. up in the 5th, and then Dick Ruck in the 6th spot right now. But right now the focus has been on the front runners, as Ron Roshinsky, I believe, goes looking to the inside there. That wasn't Ron Roshinsky, excuse me. That was Charlie Margosian going to the inside of Shane Vekovicius going through turn number 1.
And it looks like he made it stick as we go single file here once again. Field looks to be now evenly spaced out here in our GT2 class. That is actually, that's Scott Benning Sr. It looks like Charlie Margosian going at it in the 229 here. Charlie following him around. And Tadeusz Karlinskis ran about 0.4 seconds quicker than Brandon Collins did. Tadeusz with a 1 minute 29.747. Brandon with a 1 minute 30.154. As that's going to be the battle overall in the race. And also for GT1, we go on board with Tom Herb. You can just see off in the distance, there's Brandon chasing Tadeusz right now, as Herb holding off Ron Roshinsky for 3rd overall on the track, trying to hang on to the GT2 lead over Britt Casey Sr. as he'll snake his way down the back straightaway here on our Sentinel onboard camera. There we go. We can see his miles per hour going up here down this back straightaway. Gets up to 90, over 100 right now, over 110. Maybe into the 120s as he's going to have to get ready into this braking zone here as we go on board with Tom Herb providing us this incredible onboard camera shot in this race today.
125 miles an hour down to 45 miles an hour in a span of 100, let's say 200, 300 feet, I'd say. Not an easy task to be able to do, but Tom Herb displaying a really wealth of driving talent there as he went through into the braking zone at turn 11. As there's our front runners of Tadas Karlinskis and Brandon Collins right now as they run 1-2 in lockstep formation, both running within 0.2 of a lap time between each other. And you can see Tom Herb in the third spot, Casey Jr. in fourth, and then Ron Roshinsky runs in the fifth spot, who is leading the GT3 class.
Casey Sr. was able to go around Roshinsky for fourth overall, setting his sights on Tom Herb in the GT2 class. And Collins, the last time by, was about 0.2 a second quicker than Tadas was. Collins with a 1 minute 25.829. Tadas with a 1 minute 26 second .011. But Tadas continuing to set sail here, puts a bit of distance between himself and Brandon for the race lead right now overall in this event. Here we still got 14 cars still on the field. If we go through the remainder of the field, it's Ron Roshinsky in 5th in a GT3. It's Dick Ruck in the GT2 in the number 40 and 6th. Charlie Margosian in the 229 and 7th. Scott Benning Sr. in 8th. Here we have a gaggle of cars going at it here towards the back. Bob Norian in the 89 going back there. It looks like that's Valdez and Mike Keck going at it here alongside of Scott Benning Sr. and Sean Van Chivius going just ahead of them, as that looks to be a battle for about 8th to 11th on the track right now, as Bob Norian in the 89 coming into frame here in that GT5 class car, as they'll come around here to complete 3 laps in this GT Series challenge.
3 laps down, 17 to go. We still got a lot of racing action left to go here as we got Sean V on the bumper with Valdez actually on the bumper of Sean V, and then you got Mike Keck on the back bumper of all of them. So just single file lockstep formation action that's happening right in front of all these guys all together in coordination group together. But up front, it's been Tadas Karlinskis and Brandon Collins just leading the way.
Well, the lap times between Tadas and Brandon have been flip-flopping a lot. Tadas last time with a 1 minute 25 second .157. Brandon was about 7/10 slower with a 1 minute 25.888 that last time by. As here we have a gaggle of 4 cars going at it here. This looks to be again from about the 8th to the 11th position, as Sean trying to hold off Valdez right there, and Mike Keck in the 691, that Autobahn sponsored car, trying to hang in tough pursuit as the field making their way down the backstretch. Tremendous shot of our drone heading down this back straightaway here. As you can see, the field going by. Dick Ruck being chased by Charlie Margosian in the 229. That's a GT2 versus GT4. Here's a car going the inside. It looks like it's Valdez on the inside of Sean V. Here we go, heading towards the braking zone, and Valdez able to hold off Sean for the moment. It looks like battle heating up there between those 2 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. The battle is raging on as they come through turn 13, coming on to the stripe and completing another lap. You got Sean Valdez actually in front of Sean V as they head now into turn number 1. Sean V will actually have to still be in hot pursuit of Valdez, but they're all following behind Scott Benning Sr. in that number 59 BMW.
As we get through that, Tadas is continuing to set some higher lap times with a 1 minute 24 second .632, and he has lap traffic coming up here. He's got the 071 of Jeff Schur. He'll make easy work of Schur, goes to the inside of him in the braking zone and puts Schur a lap down between himself and the 999 of Brandon Collins. That is for overall on the track right now. It's Collins, what a pass right there. Nearly got off into the grass, but able to just lightning by Schur in the 071. What a pass by Collins.
There is no slowing down in that number 999. Thread the needle, why don't you call it, as he is on the hunt to go get Tadas Karlinskis there. He needed to make that move happen in order to not lose any more time than he already has, because look at the gap that Tadas has already put on Brandon Collins. He needs as much time as he can and also needs to find a little bit of pace in that little 999 Porsche.
We're a quarter of a distance through this race here today so far. And it looks like we got a battle going on here. That's Scott Benning Sr. and Valdez going at it towards the braking zone. Valdez trying to move his way up, put some distance between himself and Sean V for the lead in that battle overall. But Benning Sr. going to hang tough right now, able to lead in that GT4. They are not racing for overall class. That is a battle for position overall on the track, but it's not for overall class, as Benning Sr. is hoping that Valdez stays between himself and the 023 of Sean Venchivius right now, because Venchivius is running the GT4, trying to catch back up to the 59 of Benning Sr. As we see the field going here towards the turn 4 area, Mike Keck trying to follow Sean in hot pursuit there, as Valdez looks trying to get around Benning Sr. in the 59. They'll make their way towards the back straightaway here in just a second. As we go on board with Tom Herb here right now, and Herb going to catch some lap traffic here, trying to hang tough over the 36 of Britt Casey Sr. That is the battle overall in our GT2 class challenge here, Jordan.
Yeah, Tom Herb is right now about maybe a 6-second lead over Britt Casey Sr. in that number 36 car, in the 36 BMW, I should say, as they head down to turn number 11 through 12 and 13. But right now, as we see us on track, there's the number 40 of Dick Ruck with beautiful flames shooting out the side of those exhaust pipes on that Trans Am car.
What a shot here at the end of our back straightaway here, and it looks like Valdez got around Benning Sr. for position, as we see Sean wiggling ahead of Mike Keck in the number 691. Here comes Bob Norian with the big headlights on his GT5. He'll come around here into the braking zone now, and we should see Julie Ridgen coming here in just a second, not far back, as we see our race leaders. It is Tadas and Brandon leading the field right now. They've put Julie a lap down, and Tadas continuing to grow that big lead over the 99 of Brandon Collins.
Yeah, right now, as we can see, with the beautiful drone shot we got there, you would hate to see anybody lock up the brakes and go straight into that drone there. So good news to get to move out of the way there. But beautiful drone shot that we were able to receive there going into the braking zone of turn 11. Really gives you an idea of how the bumps and everything under the braking wise with those cars and how much the car moves around under braking. So that's a really good view of what we've been able to see with those cars and what happens under braking. But as for the moment, Tadas Karlinskis continues to open up the lead, has opened up a 3.3 second lead over the number 999 of Brandon Collins as they run through turn number 4 right now. And we have some guys going through turn number 8 that looks like the number 0223 of Sean V and the number 691 of Mike Keck.
And some more jockeying here for position. Right now, it looks like Mike Keck trying to catch up to the back of Sean V. He's going to have a look heading towards the back straightaway, as he's going to pull up to the back bumper of him right now. Not sure if he'll make anything happen with it just yet. But Sean getting a big run down the backstretch, able to just plow farther away from the 691 of Mike Keck. They are not battling for class position right now. They are different classes. Sean in a GT4, Mike in a GT5. As the GT5s right now, is Mike currently leading that over the 89 of Bob Norian right now. That is for the GT5 class right now. So you got you caught up as we see Ron Rashinsky going around here. Rashinsky in the number 7, leading the GT3 class right now over Valdez, and Valdez Gorillas in the number 24 right now, as those are the two GT3 cars running. Rashinsky running 5th overall on the racetrack, as we see they're a little bit ahead of them heading down the back straightaway. Britt Casey Sr. trying to follow the number 46 of Tom Herb in close pursuit. As we see Rashinsky making his way towards the back straightaway. We got 12 laps to go in this GT Series Challenge event, Jordan.
Just above halfway, I should say. We're coming around 2 laps away from the halfway mark in this whole race, and it has been pretty much a pretty decent race for the most part. A little bit more spread out, and a little bit more. Everyone's kind of gotten into their little groove here later on as we move more into this race. But it's still a couple of close battles that we've seen. You know, the top guys up at the front, Tadas Karlinskis, has still pulled away from Brandon Collins to now a 4.1 second lead. But further back, we have around the GT3 field, or GT2 field, I should say, of Tom Herb, still trying to pull away from Britt Casey Sr. He has about an 8-second lead over him.
As we see the remainder of the field making their way here towards the front straightaway, there's Benning Sr. right now with the lap car of Joe Schur between them, and between him it looks like the 023 of Sean Venchivius right now. Sure going to try and make his way down the front straightaway here. There's Venchivius and Keck right behind him as they're closing on him to put him a lap down. And the leaders will have 11 laps to go as we see our race leader, Tadas Karlinskas, coming by here. He's going to try and put Benning Sr. and Venchivius one lap down, and followed not far behind him is Brandon Collins in the number 99. The next time by, the leaders will complete halfway through this race as they're trying to negotiate their way through some lap traffic of the 071 of Jeff Schur.
Cars right now are still continuing to run really well as we see now Tadas Karlinskas go to the inside of Jeff Schur in between turns 4 and 5. Schur running his normal line, being predictable for all of our guys to get by, so doing a really nice job of that. Karlinskas now continuing to put down rapid laps here as he's down to a 125.780. His last time by is about a second off of his fastest lap, as now he puts down Mike Keck a lap down and is thinking about putting Sean V a lap down right in front of him. We have right now, there he goes by Sean V. He'll pull out of the way. Tadas Karlinskas will go on by. Mike Keck able to kind of still hang on to the back bumper of him. That's a GT4 car hanging on, trying to pull away from a GT5 car in that 944 of Mike Keck.
Well, Keck had a look to the outside, but Sean going to able to pull and power ahead very quickly with that momentum on the outside as Tadas puts two cars between himself and Brandon Collins in the number 99 right now, as Tadas is going to come around the front straightaway here to complete another lap in this GT Series challenge here, and he'll get the halfway signal. They get the halfway signal this time by. There goes Tadas. Here comes Brandon. They'll complete halfway through this GT Series challenge. And so far, that is the race overall in the field, as we see Tom Herb and our Sentinel onboard car camera here going down the back straightaway. Herb has about a 7-second difference over the number 36 of Rick Casey, as we see his mile chart here going up to about the 115 over the 120s, as he's going to make his way to the braking zone here. As we have more jockeying for position going on, as Tadas is catching up to the back of Scott Benning Sr. in the 59 right now. Benning Sr. trying to hang on in a GT4 class car and catching up to the 229 of Charlie Margosian for the GT4 challenge lead.
Now, the interesting thing here is you can see the trade-off between the battle of Sean V and Mike Keck. These guys right here, John V gets a little bit more of a drive off the corner because of the more horsepower that he has in his car, but Mike Keck's car is a lot lighter and handles a little bit more nimble than what Sean V's car is doing. So he's able to close back up in the middle of the corners here, but once we get to the straightaways, you'll see Sean V just kind of power out and just drive down the straightaway away from Mike Keck in that 691 Porsche that he has there. But every time he goes through a corner, whether it's a high-speed or low-speed corner, Mike Keck is right back on that bumper, ready to pounce as he goes to another one.
As they put the 59 of Scott Benning Sr. a lap down, Benning Sr. is not far behind the 229 of Charlie Margosian for that lead in the GT4 challenge, as Tadas is looking to get around him to put him a lap down. Here he goes in between turns 3 and 4, and he'll put Margosian a lap down, as Benning Sr. following suit in the 59, trailing in a GT4. That is for first overall in the GT4 challenge. There goes Margosian. There goes Benning, about maybe a full straightaway behind him there. And the field going to make their way, heading towards the back straightaway again, as their second place, Brandon Collins, trying to see if he can catch back up to Tadas right now, as we have 9 laps remaining in this 20-lap event here at the Autobahn Country Club.
You know, and we look on the south track here, it's a really good option to look at all the buildings that we have here on the left-hand side of the track here, and it's all of the buildings that all these members either have built here on property or have rented here in those condos in the background over there. And most of these cars that we see on track here are all stored here at the Autobahn Country Club through the via shops that are on the north side part of the track, or they store them in those buildings there on the south side. So some members who've all built these are all privately owned buildings that they have built for them to live here year-round throughout the weekend, or whenever day of the week they want to. They could come in and live at those buildings, or they could store the cars here on property here at the Autobahn Country Club. So a lot of options for people to be able to store your car here, where it's in storage garages, in the shops here on the north side, or build your own building to have your storage life here at the Autobahn Country Club. It's also a great place for entertainment and to have some fun with friends and family.
It is indeed. It's wonderful housing over at the back of the Autobahn Country Club, which we call our Garage Mahal, I believe, actually, as Brandon Collins goes by Margosian to put him a lap down. Margosian trying to hold off Scott Benning Sr. right now for the overall lead in the GT4 class challenge. That is for the lead in that. Tom Herb still leading Britt Casey Sr. in the GT2 class challenge, ahead of Dick Ruck in the number 40. That's the GT2 podium as of right now. For GT3, Ron Roshinsky still leading over Valdez in the 24. Those are the only GT3 cars out there right now. And in GT5, our two cars out there are Mike Keck in the 691 and Bob Norian in the 89. Keck currently leading over Norian by about 22 seconds as of right now. As there goes Britt Casey Sr. right there, out in his way to turns 1 and 2, and Tadas going to try and put another lap down, or put a lap down on Dick Ruck, who is still running on the lead lap. He put Julie Ridgen a lap down, and here goes Tadas in the 313, moving by Dick Ruck in that GT2 to put him a lap off the pace, setting his sights on some more lap cars.
Yeah, he is probably about 1.2 seconds a lap faster than Brandon Collins in that 993 Porsche. So Brandon Collins is trying to do everything he can to hang on with Tadeusz Karlinskis, but Karlinskis is really showing the way here as we see Brandon Collins go by Julie Riggin there in the number 999 Porsche. Right now, Brandon Collins is trying to do everything he can to hold off the battle, and he's gained a little bit of time there due to the lap traffic that Tadeusz had to go through. It's now about a 6.7 second gap, but still a lot of time and a lot of ground to be made if he wants to get back into this race.
Definitely has a lot more time. He's got 7 laps to go in this race here. There goes Julie Riggin being chased by the 7 of Ron Roshinsky, it seems, and not far back behind them is the 229 of Charlie Margosian. Looks like Roshinsky had a look to the inside of Riggin there, and Roshinsky powers ahead on the outside. Riggin's going to let him go by, and looks like it's nope, that's actually Valdez right there moving up. Sorry, not Ron Roshinsky, but Valdez Gorillas in the 24, moving a position ahead of the number 90 of Julie Riggin right now, and behind them is Charlie Margosian being chased by Scott Benning Sr. And Benning Sr. has caught up to him a little bit. That is for overall in the GT3 challenge right now, Jordan. So the battle for the GT3 winner is heating up a little bit as Benning is catching back up to Charlie there.
Yeah, Scott Benning Sr. right now is just trying to put in as many laps as he can and put in some quick laps as he's been able to. The last time by, he was about a second and a half faster than Charles Margosian. But that must have had a little bit of hindrance with lap traffic there as Charles Margosian goes by the number 90 of Julie Riggin there, putting her a lap down. And then Scott Benning Sr. right now trying to get up to the back bumper of Julie Riggin to put her a lap down potentially before the corner. Not going to happen. We'll tuck back in line, wait till the straightaway here. Now he'll get on the gas, pull up to the driver's right-hand side. We'll pass Julie Riggin and now try to set his sights on Charles Margosian right in front of him.
Well, Margosian's got to keep it cautious and he's got to keep it smart here, trying to hang on to the lead in the GT4 overall finish right now as we have 6 laps to go in this race here right now. As we got to look at our field here, Tadas leading by 7 seconds over Brandon Collins in the 999. That is for overall in the field and for overall in our GT1 class challenge right now. As we see, it looks like Valdez going by here ahead of Charles Margosian and the 59 of Scott Benning Sr. That is the fight for the GT4 race right now. In GT2, Tom Herb still leading over Britt Casey Sr. and Dick Ruck for the moment. It looks like Casey Sr. sliced that lead a little bit, Jordan. It's now down to 6 seconds here from 22 just a little bit ago.
It was about 6 seconds, and, he's brought that lead down quite a bit, I should say, as he's been able to catch. As Jeff Scher has kind of pulled off the racetrack there, he's kind of on pit road, signaling to the marshal there that they think he's pulling off the track. Yep, he is going to call it quits and call it a day here in this GT Challenge race, 5 laps short of the finishing mark.
What a shame for Jeff Scher. He was just trying to make it through this event, but it looks like his race will be cut just a little bit short as we have 5 laps to go in this race. We are 3/4 distance through this 20-lap event here as we get a look at our drone shot going down the back straightaway here. There's Tadas. Nope, that's not Tadas. That's Tom Herb in the 46 leading the GT2 race right now over Britt Casey Sr. in the 36. Casey trying to shave off a bit more of that lap time. It's down to 6.3 seconds between the two drivers right now. Herb goes through the braking zone. Now Casey going to try and negotiate the braking zone here as they'll come around to complete 15 laps in this race. And not far behind them, I believe, is our leaders, Tadas Karlinskis and Brandon Collins. As there goes Herb completing a lap, followed immediately by Casey Sr.
Yeah, the battle also for GT4 has been heating up as well. Charlie Margosian and Scott Benning Sr. right there. It's now between, I want to say, 4/10 of a second, or at least a second, I would say, between the two. 1.8 seconds to be exact. So these two guys have been really battling too through thick and thin this whole entire race. It is for 8th and 9th position overall, but battle for the lead in GT4.
As we got a look at our GT2 field, it was Casey who was about 0.6 a second quicker than Herb the last time by. Casey Sr. with a 1 minute 29 second .360. Herb with a 1 minute 29 second .985. So Rick Casey Sr. is continuing to shave off a bit more of those lap times as we have the battle for the lead in our GT4 class challenge. Scott Benning Sr. is catching up to the back of Charles Margosian right now, as it looks like it's down to 1.8 seconds between the two drivers. We'll see what the lap times are this time by, as we have 4 laps to go in this race, and it's Margosian who was about 0.4 a second quicker than Benning Sr. was. Margosian with a 1 minute 33 second .401, Benning Sr. with a 1 minute 33 second .817 the last time by. So Charles Margosian hanging tough with Scott Benning Sr. right now, trying to keep him behind for the GT4 win.
Yeah, and as we get longer and longer into this race, too, we're starting to get into the phase of where tires are starting to overheat a little bit and tires are starting to slip and slide there. As we can see, Brandon Collins trying to use every inch of the track he potentially can, maybe even a little bit of part of the grass if it's possible, if that's part of the track real estate that we're offering here at the Audubon Country Club. Yeah, but you pay for it, you might as well use it all of it, and maybe even extra if you have the ability to be able to do it. So Brandon Collins just trying to do everything he can to keep his lap times down, try to be a little bit quicker here and there of Tatis. Unfortunately, the gap has gotten quite big enough to where even a little bit of margin of gap he gains, it's going to hinder him. But Tatis had a little bit of I would say, slowdown with Bob Norian, the number 89, in front of him, and Brandon Collins went a little bit quicker too, almost 3 seconds faster than Tatis Karlinskis that last time by.
Nice aerial shot from our drone going down the back straightaway here. We have some more jockeying for position towards the back of the field. It looks like that is actually Sean trying to hang tough with Mike Heck in the 691. And behind them, it looks like that may be Tom Herb, actually, I believe, going to put a lap down on those drivers right there, as we have Brandon Collins in the 999. Oh, and it looks like, is that Tadas, our race leader, is off with trouble. Tadas Karlinskis, the race leader, off the pace with some issues. Not sure what happened to him, but he has lost the lead to Brandon Collins, and he is slow off the pace. Jordan, you were talking about tires maybe heating up a little bit there. That is probably what has happened to our race leader.
Not sure what happened to Tadas Karlinskis so far. I mean, right now, looking at his car, all the tires seem to be up on his car, which means it doesn't mean he has a flat tire. But right now, he has been moving very slow off the pace, trying to let the rest of the field go by. He might even pull off to the side of the road right here and might pull it to a stop on the racetrack. If he can try to get off the track, that'd be the best. But right now, he's coming to a stop just the driver's right on the racetrack in turn number 10. Not in a very safe place. We may have to go full course yellow for this.
This race may end under a full course yellow here if Tadas is unable to get the car going. He's trying to. The car is stopped right now, and it looks like there's a local yellow in that area of the track right now. We stay full course green for the moment as Brandon comes around to complete 2 laps to go. But what a shame for the race leader. Tadas Karlinskis, so dominant. He was pacing the field, pacing Brandon Collins, and he is able to get the car going a little bit here. We'll see how far he's able to get it out of the way, out of the rest of the field here so they won't hit him. And he pulls off in the middle of the track. Can he get it off into the grass? Julia Riggin goes by. But here we see, it looks like Tadas, not sure if he's going to be able to get it going. This race may under yellow, but we stay green for the moment. What a shame for our race leader, though.
It's a good job by Tadas to try to get the car out of a safe spot, spot he was in, more to a safer spot off the racetrack, especially on the straight line down the back straightaway. But you were mentioning it, Matt. What a shame for Tadas Karlinskis. He was about a 5 to 6 second lead over Brandon Collins with about 2 laps to go. And unfortunately, problem has happened to his car to where it's now lost all power, it seems like. He's unable to continue on, handing the lead over to Brandon Collins, and Collins has retained the lead, has now over a minute lead over Tom Herb for the overall advantage, but has now ran away with it for the GT1 category to go on to win overall.
And it looks like Brandon Collins is going to be one step closer to locking it up here overall. As Todd is still creeping along the back straightaway here. We only have one lap to go. It is the white flag lap as we see the cars going by him here. Britt Casey was not able to get around Tom Hurd, my mistake, as it looks like Charles Margosian going to hold off Scott Benning Sr. right now for the GT4 class victory, as Tadas is still creeping along there. I'm not sure what's going on with his car, Jordan, but he stopped. He was able to get under power a little bit, but he's going incredibly slow down the back stretch. He may just want to stay up there for the time being.
His car is probably going into limp mode here a little bit, so he's just trying as best he can to keep it rolling, keep it out of everyone's harm's way, and trying to make it back to the pit road as he possibly can, trying to avoid a flatbed toe back if he can, or even just a toe back for the most part. But Brandon Collins now navigating his way through turn 9 and 10 for the final time, can see the yellow flags that are being on display, knows that Tadas is having a problem, and will probably pass him down the straightaway here as Tadas still trying to creep and crawl all the way through. Julie Riggin going to come on by, makes it on past Tadas, and here comes Brandon Collins for the final time. Going to put the exclamation point on today's battle as he now comes through turn 12, will pass his rival, maybe give him a little bit of a wave, and will make his way over towards turn number 13 for the final time.
Well, Tadas looks like he's going to be able to get the car back to pit lane, it seems, maybe, with how slow it is. But Brandon Collins is going to come around and take the checkered flag. He will win the GT Series Challenge race at the Autobahn Country Club today. And Tadas Karlinska's heartbreak after leading so many laps today. Here comes his car. Will he be able to get to pit lane as the field going by him here? It looks like that may be Ron Roshinsky, or no, that's actually Valdez going by right there. And they're going to complete the lap here, and it looks like Tadas may be able to get the car to pit lane. So trying to avoid the rollback, like you said, there's his car. Not sure what happened, but he had this race dominated so far today.
He had it up to about an 8-second lead at one point in time, but unfortunately that was all gone to waste and all gone down the drain once he had his issues with this car, and unfortunately wasn't able to make it happen. So we'll look at the top 5 here of all the GT class winners. As Tom Hurd comes across the line, he'll take the GT2 class win to make it official for GT2 winning. Brandon Collins, as we mentioned, wins GT1. Tom Hurd, GT2. Ron Roshinsky will come away with the win in GT3. Charles Margosian, GT4. And Mike Keck will round out the winners of GT5 here today.
Well, that'll be our GT Series Challenge event as we see Tadas Karlinskas pulling off into the paddock area. He was able to avoid getting the car taken back on a rollback, but what a shame for Tadas, who had led so many laps here in this race today. We'll get to our podium award ceremony for our GT Series Challenge event, and immediately after will be our third and final heat race for Spec Miata and SM2, which will be coming up here in just a second. Our GT Series Challenge race at Autobahn is complete for the moment.